to Three of Cups, a podcast where my friends Gabriel, Luna, and I, Ashley, come together to share our love of tarot and all things mystical.
Each week, we'll pull a card and explore its meanings, offering insights and interpretations along the way. Whether you're a seasoned pro or a curious seeker, we invite you to join us for a lively discussion filled with laughter, wisdom, and of course, plenty of cups.
So grab your favorite drink, cozy up with a deck of cards, and let's dive deep into the world of tarot.
Cheers!
Cheers! Welcome everyone to the second episode of Three of Cups. The previous episode we talked about, the Three of Cups. And today we will be pulling a card para yun yung card na i-discuss natin for this episode. So who wants to pick a card, guys? Si Gabe? Ikaw na.
All right. So for today, we're going to be using the Rider-Waite-Smith tarot deck. So this is, of course, a staple. Alam to ng mga lahat ng tarot reader. If you're a tarot reader and you don't know the Rider-Waite-Smith, well,
You are not a
I have never heard of someone na tarot reader who doesn't know the Rider-Waite-Smith. Kaya hindi ko alam kung ano sasabihin ko kasi. Anyway.
Baka yung mga ano pa lang, yung mga new to the path, diba? So ito yung pinaka-basic na deck na pwede nyo makuha. And I think it's very necessary for a beginner in the tarot path to actually pick up a pack of Rider-Waite cards because yun yung pinakamadaling aralin eh.
Mm-hmm.
Diba?
Yeah, I believe every beginner should start with the Rider-Waite because you're gonna learn a lot from this one. Like a lot of cards are, ito yung pinagkuhanan eh.
Yeah.
Yung sa Rider-Waite.
But it's not necessary that you, pagka first time nyo, dapat ito agad yung bilhin nyo. Like, if another deck calls out to you, like, yung mga decks sa shop ni Luna, sa Luna Brujeria.
Ay,
oh
oo.
my God. Okay, just pick anything
yan.
you want and that vibes with you. Siguro one of these days, let's also talk about like the how to choose a deck, right? How to vibe or how to take care of decks. Kasi ako maarte ako sa decks ko. I know Luna, you are very as well.
So
Ay, oo. Ang alam ko si Luna, ayaw niyang pinapahawak yung cards niya sa iba. Does it still ring true?
Yes! Oh God, I didn't know I told you that.
Yes, of course, I remember.
I actually have a deck na dalawa yung copy ko because I have this one copy na pwede hawakan ng ibang people and then the other is the one na ako lang yung pwedeng humawak. So yeah. It's just me. It doesn't have to be that way.
For today's episode, we have the Six of Wands, but it's in reverse. Okay? So it's good, pero we need to understand the energy at hand as well before we actually understand why this is good even if it's in reverse. So, who wants to explain muna siguro the upright, guys?
Okay. For me, isa lang yung term na lumalabas sa akin immediately when I see the Six of Wands, and it's victory.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I found it. It's victory, and it's celebrating victories with other people. Mm-hmm. Because as you can see in the card, in the imagery of the card, there's a man on a horse, may wreath siya, and may mga tao rin behind him or like all around him, supporters niya. So it's achieving things with the help of other people. Kayo, what can you say about this card?
The Six of Wands is actually my favorite because I see it as finally getting that recognition for something that you've been doing for some time now, or the goal that you've been aiming, and finally people see you. Finally, people appreciate you for what you do, and like what you said, ayun nga, it's achieving things through the help of other people as well. That's why they're cheering for that person kasi they were there along the way.
And just to add to that, if in the first episode we talked about the Three of Cups being like a mutual celebration between people, I feel like it's like similar in a way, but not that similar. This is like being celebrated by the people, you know? It's like after a long journey that you took, a painful one, if ganun yung pinagdaan, kasi that's basically life. I just feel like this card is talking about like being celebrated, and what's being celebrated is yung purity rin ng pinagdaanan mo, na wala kang tinapakang tao, that you got your victory of from the purest of actions, the purest of intentions. So it's like divine celebration for you after a long journey of working through your shit. Okay, yun yung
Uncensored tong podcast na to.
yeah. Because like, diba, like one thing we learned from our tarot class as well is that the ones is it could be obsession or could be your passion. So if you work on your passions and not fall into your obsessions, I feel like that's where you will be celebrated when you choose your passions over your obsessions.
So I think when it comes to numerology, the meaning of the number 6 is also harmony. Harmony and success and even creativity. So I believe that if we're going to define this card with the meaning of the number in relation to the suit of wands, which is element of fire. So yun, passions, hobbies din, ambitions, goals. I think it's when we say harmony when it comes to goals, it's having that passion but not like overextending it to the point that it becomes an obsession. It could also mean harmony and teamwork in order to be able to achieve your goals.
With passion, just like what you mentioned, Gabe and Ash, the astrological association of this is the energy of Jupiter and Leo. And Leo is always all about passion and creativity because it rules the fifth house, diba? It's the creative house. And Jupiter is all about good fortune. And this card is literally victory. And it's also victory in the Thoth Tarot deck. Yun mismo rin yung nakalagay dun sa baba niya. So, sobrang on point yung mention mo earlier. It's all about victory.
Okay, so now that you mentioned that it's the correspondence in astrology is Leo. So Leo is also all about leadership. So that's why there's one guy, I guess, siya yung leader ng grupo nila. Since Jupiter means naman expansion, luck. So yeah, it still all revolves around victory and working as a team or achieving goals with other people.
How about in the reversed position? Kasi like that's the energy that came out with a pull. So perhaps may collective struggle tayo, like perhaps kasi if 'di ba, like if it's especially like what we talked about in the last episodes, medyo overwhelming nga din talaga yung mga transits that's happening. Like two major transits, like Saturn entering Pisces, tapos Pluto will soon enter Aquarius, 'di ba? So there's a lot of resistance being asked to be resolved in a way perhaps.
So, if we were to interpret reversals with the knowing that it's energy focused on the self, it could mean celebrating your own victories without needing the validation from others, like external validations. It's about recognizing your own achievements. Kasi baka yun ba yung collective energy nating tatlo? Na baka we have these tendencies to not celebrate our own victories and achievements. Ako rin, guilty ako doon.
Shadow aspect, I could also see it as maybe imposter syndrome, like achieving something and thinking that, oh, maybe I don't deserve it, or maybe I'm not really that capable of achieving that. Like, bakit to binigay na opportunity sa akin, eh, hindi ko pa naman kaya, yung ganon. I could also see that in the reverse.
And yung sinabi mo kanina, Luna, about the correspondence with Leo and Jupiter, perhaps it's also about unworthiness, you know? Like that deep sense of unworthiness that keeps you away from manifesting what it actually is you want to experience. It's really more internal.
Sometimes when it comes to reversals for me, I look at the previous card. So I think it's telling us to go back to the previous card and actually learn from the lessons from the previous card in order to move forward. So 5 of Wands, well, conflicts, diba? So I think it's a call to resolve some conflicts within a team or within a group setting in order to achieve victory.
The colors, there's yellow, which is the color of the sun itself. So it's always radiant, it's always positive, and
Yeah.
it's like having all eyes on you. That's the sun, right?
Another thing pala na, I mean, if we're gonna include all of the possible interpretations na even the negative ones, the opposite of victory is loss, di ba? So it could also pertain to a certain loss that the querent is going through.
Go, Ash. Can you like think about a moment that you experience the energy of Six of Wands?
Six of Wands?
Yeah, like a Six of Wands moment.
Oh yeah, okay. So when you asked that, my eyes immediately went to a trophy of mine. So kasi I recently participated in the Vios Cup and I won second place. So yun, victory yun, literal. Ang galing. As in, gumanon.
Congratulations.
Thank you guys. Kayo, what about you guys? Luna, do you remember any Six of Wands moment?
I don't know, like for me, it could be like even, I don't know, sometimes maliliit pa na wins compared to the bigger ones. And even like having to be able to have that collaboration like with the Mabuheya, you guys were there with me. Like that for me is Six of Wands. I was so happy and there were people around me. Ikaw ba, Gabe?
Six of Wands moment. Ako nagtanong ako yung hirapan ng sumagot.
Oo nga.
I would say, like, wait lang I need to like think about that.
Sige, go.
My God, like I can't even remember a time now.
Nako, para sa'yo pala yung reverse.
Siguro, no? Kaya pala lumabas.
Not
Achievements.
Oo, ang dami-dami mong achievements, Gabe. As in, from an outsider or like from someone who's your friend and who's been witnessing all of your,
I can mention like 3 Six of Wands moment.
ang dami mo kaya, Gabe. Tapos hindi siya makaisip, guys. So, para sa
siguro
kanya yung cards.
I think I would say one of my most victorious moment is when I graduated, yung class natin sa Mysterium. Kasi, like, I feel like it led me to, to like a new branch in this tree that I'm growing. So, ngayon, like, the tarot helps me provide. So, any moment ngayon, like, I know I can earn from my talent and, passion. So, I feel like being a tarot reader is my greatest Six of Wands moment. In upright, syempre. Kasi it really opened me up to a lot of possibilities. And at the same time, I know na parang, and I know you guys know this as well to your own selves, na parang, we know we're a bit, we know we're talented, and we know we can use this talent to affect and heal, and not just ourselves, but so many other people. And I feel like at yung Six of Wands moment, na parang, the victory is not just for you, but it's also for your neighbor. It's also for your dogs or cats, whoever.
Yeah, it's for the collective. Like, it's a collective victory. I mean, I would agree with you with considering that the graduation from that tarot class a win kasi sobrang hirap niya, guys. I mean, I would be honest, like, I was so proud of myself for graduating from that class because it was a very challenging but fulfilling one.
Totoo.
And being
naman.
able to practice right afterwards, for me, that is so Six of Wands. Because I don't ever imagine myself before I said, okay, I'm just going to read for myself because I was just a bit anxious reading for other people. What if I fucked it up? Oh, like,
Oh, yes.
What if I said
True.
something wrong and then because of that class.
Speaking of fucking a reading up, I mean, I myself have experienced, readings that I wish I would have done better at, diba?
Tell us about it, Ash.
Diba?
Share.
Parang may mga times na parang kinakabahan ako na baka hindi nagre-resonate yung client or
Lalo
like...
pag poker face, no?
Yeah.
Oo! Tapos yun pala sinasadya na lang yung poker face para it wouldn't influence the reading. Pero there are also times na parang nakita ko, bakit may the lovers na lumabas? It means na, you're in a relationship. I mean, parang yung first intuition ko was like, this is a reading about a relationship. And then, after the reading, single pala. Alam mo yun? So parang there are times like we would like not all tarot readings will be like 100% accurate. And that's fine. I feel like it's something that we should also talk about kasi it's something that readers could experience na it could be a Six of Wands in reverse moment for a lot of us readers out there na maging insecure sa
yes.
skills, 'di ba? For a mistake or two. And then it could mess up with your self-worth or yung it could give you self-doubt kumbaga. But I think it would be helpful to let readers out there who are listening to this podcast right now. It would help, I believe, if we could share then it's normal. It's normal to make mistakes. And it doesn't mean that it's not a victory. It's not something to be celebrated. Kasi every mistake is a learning experience and it's worth celebrating.
That's so true. I know that's so true. Just want to say that. Kasi like it's especially nung nagsisimula ako, like pagka feeling ko hindi nag-resonate yung binabasahan ko, and it's all in my head, pinangungunahan ko while I'm reading, like I'm channeling messages, pero inside, like I'm already like trying to maintain that sense of confidence. I feel like that's a microcosmic expression of the Six of Wands in reverse. Yung parang losing confidence because of something, and it's tough, as a tarot reader, it's tough to go through that. But again, we all have to go through it. And Rob was not kidding na talagang pagdadaanan natin yan one way or another.
That's true. And at the same time, we can't be the tarot reader for everyone else. Sometimes it's also just parang hindi lang kayo in sync, and maybe there's another tarot reader for that querent. Doesn't mean that you're not good. Doesn't mean that there's something wrong with the way you read cards. So maybe it's just not resonating at that time. Maybe eventually it will resonate, and it
that's
doesn't
true.
have to make sense now. But eventually they're gonna realize that okay, this was it.
Yeah, that happens a
popped
lot actually, 'di ba? Na parang like a few months after the reading, the clients will come back to you. Oh, it finally happened. And nung simula, it didn't resonate. So yeah, the tarot has a funny way of doing that.
Yeah, I also got feedbacks like that. Na parang at first na parang, okay, hindi naman to nangyayari sa akin. And then they're gonna come back, oh my God, this happened.
Yeah.
The cards were right.
Just one last question to you guys. Like, do you believe na choosing a tarot reader is like choosing a doctor? It's hindi ka pwede, like, kasi for me na parang, sometimes if I want like a kind of reading na parang more on spiritual, I would go to this person. But then if I want like a more mundane reading, I would go to that person. Do you think na choosing a tarot reader is like choosing a doctor? That it's not one fits all.
Yeah, definitely. Because each and every tarot reader has their own specialty, I believe. A specialty or own styles of reading. What are your styles or specialties?
I meant this yung kay Luna.
Oh, ito kay Luna. Gusto ko marinig.
Okay, so I specialize in more on uncovering the shadow, making the querent realize that there's always, they have power to change their situation. It doesn't always come from the outside forces. Of course, there are things that are beyond our control, but there's always something that we can control, the way we feel about the situation or the way we perceive it. And we can always choose to do things differently. And at the same time, I also like connecting the mundane into the spiritual aspect of things. Ganon. So I'm also okay getting mundane readings, like just asking,
Mga love, ganon.
Oh, it's fine with me. I enjoy it, actually.
Actually, same.
Yeah, I enjoy it.
Oh, hindi naman tayo judgmental sa mga clients natin or anything,
And
di ba?
sometimes they're even laughing and asking, okay naman mag-ask niyo yung ganito kababaw daw na question. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's really okay. And I make them realize how it's also connected to their spirit. Everything we do, it's also spiritual in a way. You can find the spiritual aspect of it, even though that it's a mundane question.
Exactly. Like even for us, we could consider ourselves spiritual. Ando na tayo sa mas more spiritual more than the mundane. But we all came from there eh. This is just a stage in our journey. And basta everyone goes through that. So even us as readers, kuwari sa mga clients na mahihiya to ask quote unquote simple or mababaw questions, don't be embarrassed kasi like we all understand, we've all been there and we can all relate
human
naman.
experience.
Yes.
And at the same time, I feel like mundane will always be a part of our lives because we live in this 3D world. It's part of being grounded. That's the way I see it. So, ikaw, Gabe, what's your specialty?
Kala ko dati actually magiging twin flame specialist ako. Kasi I started learning the tarot because of twin flame readings. So, I'm not sure if ako lang, pero natuto talaga ako magbasa ng tarot because I was watching way too much pick-a-card readings on YouTube. Okay.
Uy, pero ang gagaling nun ah.
Totoo. Ay, no, ang gagaling nila. Totoo. Kaya nga nakaka-relate ako when you said na lahat tayo pinanggalingan yan. Because before I became a tarot reader, I was the client. You know, I was getting readings sa YouTube, sa mga kilala kong taong nagbabasa ng tarot. So, there's no shame in that. But my specialty right now, I would say I'm leaning really more towards spiritual consultations. And that's really where I thrive. I like reading mundane as well, especially kapag when it's something na talagang special sa client, let's say, about family, about yung dynamics. But the thing is, my flavor always comes in it's really more of like me extracting the spiritual insights behind the mundane situations that's happening. So, pwede nating interpret like, let's say, a love situation, babalikan pa ba ako neto? So, usually, if I'm just gonna read a mundane kind of reading, I would say, hindi. Kasi di ba may mga ganon, like ganon ka-simpleng card. Di ba?
Tapos paano mo sasabihin eh, no?
Yun. So that's where the spiritual insights come into play. Na parang, hindi, because there's a lot of things to heal. There's something na from the past na hindi na-resolve, and then kung hahalo kaya namin yon, ano ba yung hindi na-resolve sa past? Then dun makikita possibly na it's from the childhood wounds. So I like going through a person's life and also factoring in the lives that they've had prior to this one. So kasi I really consider myself to be like a very intuitive alchemist. So in a way, I like considering like ano ba yung strengths mo in a past life? Ano ba yung wounds mo from this past life? And then how is it coming into play in this current life? So it's like an overview kind of thing. Pero definitely it's all about still going back to the main point, which is to help the client heal. So if it's connecting the mundane to the spiritual, I guess that would be my special kind of flavor. But I'm curious about Ashley, kasi Ash, you've been studying so many things about the tarot. Like your books, like nakikita ko nagmamine ka doon sa mga post ni Luna.
Sobrang number one suki ako ni Luna, I'm proud to say. Pero, well, now that you've explained your, I don't know, specialty in terms of tarot reading, I would say na very similar yung styles natin, Gabe. Because, as in, sobrang parang, okay, he's describing my methods, okay?
Well, you are math.
Yeah, well, your thoughts.
Kind of the same, di ba? Finding the shadow, the root of what
Yes.
the problem here.
So because the focus of my recent studies for the past 2 years actually, I've been delving deep into shadow work, inner work, and uncovering wounds, like all of these layers of the subconscious mind. And of course, I had to do that for myself first before I translated it into the tarot, and before I offered, or I mean, I only started doing this recently for other people as well, because I wanted to undergo a significant amount of healing for myself first before I could actually do that for other people. So right now, I would say na I have different spreads, but most of it, I mean, actually all of it, also incorporate the principles of healing and shadow work. So I also do this spread wherein we identify like what I mentioned earlier, the layers of the subconscious, which is the ego, judgment, and your wounds and your limiting beliefs. As in, it's a method for a person to actually heal those wounds and para mag-break na ng mga recurring patterns in their lives. So, I would say it's very similar to yours, Gabe.
Parang psychological nga eh. Parang psychology-based din. I like that.
Yeah.
Galing, no? We all have a common ground pala.
I'd say medyo pare-parehas yung tatlo eh.
Oo shadow work din si Luna eh.
Yeah, delving into the shadow and then the spiritual aspect of it.
But this could be also dangerous for someone who's not, let's say, I think we also need to talk na it's also dangerous to try and poke people's wounds if you don't know how to hold space
That's
for the
true.
healing.
Oh, thank you for mentioning.
Ang dami kasi, ang dami ngayon na sinusundot yung sugat nila and then it leaves the client more like,
mas lalo magbe-bleed eh. Diba? Like if you don't know how to dress the wound, kumbaga.
yes.
Yeah. There's also a possibility then kasi for people to trauma bond
Yes.
when that happens. Kasi like if you haven't, kumare let's say I'm a person who hasn't undergone any kind of healing tapos naglabas ng sama ng loob yung isa kong friend. I mean, okay, it could also be some sort of holding space if you're like, oh, you're there, you're listening. But it can turn into like, pwede mong, oh, I relate. Oo nga, si ganito, ganyan. So how will you guys overcome this and rise above it?
Yes.
Basta stuck kayo together eh. That's what makes it dangerous is because baka mas lalo pang mag-brew yung mga negative energy that revolves around the situation. So, I would say that that's not really the healthy kind of holding space for someone when someone's bearing their wounds to you.
That's so true. Kaya nakarelate ako sa sinabi mo, Ash, that before you actually translated your knowledge about healing to the people that you read for or you hold space for, ikaw muna yung first patient mo. And I totally relate to that.
Kailangan muna pagdaanan mo before you impart wisdom on a certain topic, diba?
Yeah, you cannot talk about something you do not know about. Diba? How can a teacher teach something that they haven't studied? And healing is also kind of like that, diba? You have to know it. You have to experience it.
Yes, and the thing with healing then kasi na there's so many books, so many articles that like readily available for everyone revolving around the topic of shadow work and healing. But it's one thing to know these topics and read about them, and it's another to actually apply them into your life. So that's how you can actually say na okay yung person that is doing shadow work for you if they've also gone through a significant amount of inner work for themselves.
Of course,
reverse.
to support this, this energy. Yeah.
Oo nga, no? Parang nalihis na pala, but it's still related to some extent. Yeah. Oh, I guess that wraps up our episode on the Six of Wands.
Thank you for joining us again for another episode of Three of Cups. We hope you enjoyed exploring the tarot with us and gained some new insights and perspectives along the way.
And if you have any questions or comments, please do reach out to us on our social media channels. And if you like what you heard, please consider leaving us a review on your favorite podcast platform because it will really help us reach more people.
So until next time, you guys, keep shuffling those cards and may your readings be filled with magic and wonder. Cheers to another round of Three of Cups!
Cheers!
Cheers.